Claire, it's decided. My cousin and her family, 5 people, will be staying in your guest suite next Monday. Make sure you have milk and snacks for the kids. Thanks. I stared at the text from Emily, my brother Mark's wife. Not a question. A command. My chest tightened, that familiar icy pit of dread settling in my stomach. I didn't text back. I didn't panic. I took a deep breath and dialed her number. Hey, did you see my text? Her voice chirped, far too sweet. I saw it, I said, my voice flat, clinical, the same tone I use when delivering audit findings to executives. The answer is no. There was silence. I could almost hear her recalculating. What do you mean? No. It's just for a week, she stammered. No. They are not staying here. The suite isn't available. Do not ask again. I hung up before she could respond. That no wasn't just about this weekend. It was 5 years in the making. Emily is exhausting. She survives on what she can take from others. About 3 years ago, she came to my father, Thomas, in tears about a failed online business, begging for $20,000 from his retirement to pay off debts. My dad, trusting and generous, gave it to her. That money never returned. When I asked for paperwork, my instinct as an auditor, she accused me of being hostile. Mark, my brother, told me to let it go for family harmony. And here I was, planning their 40th wedding anniversary alone. Not Mark, not Emily. Me. Coordinating caterers, rentals, invitations, all while juggling a 60-hour workweek. That's when I realized what I call the competence trap. When you're the capable one in a dysfunctional family, you stop being treated as a person. You become a utility. The planner, the banker, the fixer. Emily's text wasn't a request, it was a calculation. She moved a problem from her spreadsheet to mine. She didn't see me as human. She saw me as a resource. For the first time in 5 years, the resource said no. My phone rang within 5 minutes. Claire, my dad's tired voice. I know Emily can be difficult, but this is for the anniversary. Can't you just bend a little? I kept calm, precise. Dad, is family peace worth $20,000? Silence. That heavy, sad pause of a man who knows the truth. It's not that simple, he said finally. It is to me, I said, voice firm. She let herself take your retirement money. I'm not letting her take my sanity or my home. I hung up. The next call came almost immediately. Mark. I braced for anger, for insults. Instead, I got pleading. Claire, come on. I stayed silent. This boundary had to be ironclad. If you love real emotional stories, hit subscribe, we post one every day. You're making this a big deal, Claire. Emily is just trying to fit in. It's 1 week. Why are you overreacting? I froze, my voice icy. Mark, where is Dad's $20,000? He let out a nervous, angry laugh. That's not the point. That was a business loss. You're being selfish. Selfish. The word hung in the air like smoke. As I listened to the brother I used to admire make excuses for the woman who scammed our father, it hit me. Mark isn't foolish. He's trapped. There's a psychological concept called the emotional sunk cost fallacy, investing so much of your time, identity, and emotion into someone that you cannot walk away, even when it's obviously failing. Mark has spent 5 years tied to Emily. 2 children. A life built around being her husband. Admitting she's a con artist would be admitting that everything he's done for the last 5 years is a disaster. The shame is too heavy to face. So he chooses denial. He isn't protecting her. He's protecting himself. He's a prisoner of hope, clinging to the fantasy she'll change because reality is unbearable. In that moment, listening to him plead, my anger vanished. What remained was cold, profound pity. I wasn't speaking to my brother. I was speaking to collateral damage. Mark, I said quietly, voice stripped of emotion. No. That is final. Do not call me about this again. I hung up. The emotional storm had passed. Now it was time for facts. I was done with pleading, guilt, and appeals to family harmony, they were just noise. As an auditor, I deal in facts. I let Mark's angry calls and Dad's weary ones go to voicemail. Then I sent one message to the family group chat, Mark, Emily, and Thomas. Conference call at 7 p.m. tonight. We will resolve this matter once and for all. No permission asked, no negotiation offered. At 7 o'clock sharp, I dialed them in. I heard tense breathing. Emily preparing her crocodile tears, Mark rehearsing excuses, Dad hoping the conflict would end. I spoke first, calm, measured, cold. Thank you for joining. I am not arguing tonight. I will present my points regarding this request. After that, the matter is closed. Silence. This was my terrain, my language. Point 1, I began. I am the homeowner. The in-law suite is private property. It is not a hotel. Not an Airbnb. Not a communal family space. I am not a hotel manager. Point 2. I am responsible for planning our parents' 50-person anniversary party. My time is fully dedicated to vendors, catering, and budgets. I am the planner, not a babysitter. Emily started to interrupt. That's not fair. I was going to help. I cut her off. I am not finished. Point 3. The premise of this request is fraudulent. Mark's voice rose, defensive. What do you mean? The claim, I said, is that Emily's cousin's family is struggling and cannot afford accommodations. This is false. You don't know that. Emily yelled. They are having a hard time. Really? I said, my voice calm. Interesting, considering they maintain a fully public social media profile. I'm currently looking at photos they posted just last week. The album was titled Magic Memories 2024. A perfect picture of the entire family of 5 wearing matching Mickey Mouse ears, smiling in front of the Cinderella castle. A trip that, conservatively, had cost at least $5,000. Silence. That ringing, heavy kind that fills your ears. The emotional argument had been dismantled by one verifiable fact. They hadn't expected me to do my research. They never do. I'll summarize my findings, I said, voice clinical, cold. You are not asking me to host a struggling family out of generosity. You are demanding I provide free lodging and childcare for 5 people who just spent more on a vacation than I will spend on this entire anniversary party, so they can enjoy another free ride at my expense. I let that sink in. Audit complete. Request denied. Case closed. Emily's voice finally shattered the silence, but it wasn't anger. It was a shriek. You've always hated me. You think I'm a gold digger. You've been trying to turn Mark against me since day one. I just wanted us to be a family. I was just helping my cousin. Dad began to speak, voice pleading. Claire, honey, maybe that was. I cut him off. My voice sharp, cold enough to cut glass. Really, Emily? Are you sure you want me to continue? Because I'm not finished. The screaming stopped instantly. What are you talking about? She whispered. Audit point 4, I said, dropping into a low, clinical monotone. The final finding. I let the silence hang. I could hear Mark's shallow, fast breathing. 6 months ago, I continued, the last time you stayed in the in-law suite, you told Mark you were too tired to drive home after our parents' barbecue. Do you remember that night, Emily? I don't know, she stammered, small now. Scared? I prompted. Yes, she admitted. Because after you scammed my father out of $20,000, I no longer trusted you. Not in my home, not near my things. So I installed a small security camera in the suite, tucked into the bookshelf, for my own peace of mind. Dead silence. Heavy. Dad let out a small, incredulous breath. For someone too tired to drive, I said, you were quite active around 2 a.m. I have a 10-minute, high-definition video showing you kneeling in front of my mini safe in the closet, trying repeatedly to guess the passcode. I continued, voice steady. You tried birthdays, anniversaries, the classics, 1, 2, 3, 4. You grew frustrated, wiping your hands on your pajamas when none of them worked. No sound. Total annihilation. The kind of silence louder than a scream. Dad whispered, Claire, is this true? I have the file time-stamped and backed up, I said. Dad, I can play it for you. Emily made a small, choked, animal-like sound. Not manipulative, not a victim, just caught. This wasn't about free lodging anymore. Not Disney. This had escalated from a family dispute to a criminal matter. All four of us knew it. My secondary twist. My checkmate. Finally, Mark spoke, stammering. Claire, you're kidding, right? You're joking. Do you want me to send the video file to the group chat? I asked, voice flat. Or just the time-stamped stills? I can provide all supporting documentation. You, Emily gasped. That was the last sound I heard. A guttural scream of pure cornered rage, then the sharp click as she hung up. I was left on the line with Mark and my father. The silence that followed was heavier than anything before. I took a breath. For obvious reasons, I said calmly, the anniversary party at my house is cancelled. Vendors will be notified in the morning. This call is over. I ended the conference. 3 days passed in blessed, heavy silence. I imagined Mark's house in chaos, my father drinking antacids by the carton. I, on the other hand, was already scanning flight schedules. A new plan was forming. On the 4th day, my phone rang. Unknown number. Usually I'm cautious, but I had a feeling. I answered. It was Emily. But this wasn't the cornered, screaming animal from the last call. This voice was small, shaky, contrite. The best performance of her life. Claire, she whispered, a fake crackle in her voice. I'm so sorry. I overreacted. We've been under so much stress. Can we just start over? For Dad, for the anniversary. I listened as she delivered her full act, let the hollow apology hang in the air. She was testing the waters, gauging if the video evidence would force her surrender or if she needed a new angle. No, Emily, I said. My voice wasn't angry, it wasn't cold. It was finished. I do not accept your apology. She self-destructed. The mask didn't slip, she tore it off. The soft, fake whisper vanished, replaced by a sharp, venomous hiss. Oh my God, she snapped. You really are that selfish. Fine. But if you're going to be like this, the least you can do, since you're saving money by not hosting, you can pay for my cousin's meals. I paused. Meals? Yes, she spat. $800. They've had to eat out all week because of you. You can at least cover the $800. And I laughed. Deep, from the gut. Not a chuckle, a full laugh, shaking my body, the absurdity so perfect it broke me open. After trying to manipulate me, rob me, scam my father, her final move was to demand $800 for her relative's room service. "Claire, it's not funny," she yelled. I laughed harder. Then, I ended the call. Blocked her number. A few taps felt like shutting a 20-pound steel door. I muted notifications from Mark indefinitely in the family chat. No more justifications, no more accusations. I didn't break the family, I stopped holding the shattered pieces together. I canceled the caterer, the rentals. I deleted the spreadsheet, the deposits, the plans for a 50-person party. Then I opened a new browser window. For plane tickets to a quiet beach resort the next weekend. Warm water. No cell service. A table at the best oceanfront restaurant in town. Finally, I called Dad. He picked up immediately, voice cautious. "Hi, Dad," I said. For the first time in weeks, my voice was light. "The big, noisy 50-person party is cancelled." A deep sigh. I understand, honey. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Don't be," I said. "Your 40th anniversary is not cancelled. Pack your bags. I'm taking you, Mom, and the kids away for the weekend. Just us. No drama. No spreadsheets. Just us." The final scene, Dad, Mom, my 2 kids, and me, sitting at that oceanfront restaurant. Peaceful. Warm. Together. The sun was dipping below the horizon, turning the sky into a swirl of colors I didn't know existed. We were all dressed up. Dad held Mom's hand across the table. We lifted our glasses to 40 years together. I said, "Dad, the man who lost $20,000, the man who carried worry and sadness for half a decade." He looked at me, eyes steady and clear. No longer the trusting victim. Just my dad. He reached out and placed his hand over mine. "Thank you, Claire," he said, voice thick with feeling. This is what family is." In that moment, I finally understood something. We're taught that family is an unbreakable bond, something you owe loyalty to just for being born. That "blood is thicker than water" phrase. It's a trap. It's used to justify abuse, demand loyalty that hasn't been earned, and silence those who are hurting. Sometimes the greatest act of love for your real family, the one you choose and protect, is having the courage to cut off the toxic parts. Letting go of those blood ties isn't destruction. It's preservation. By building a wall to keep out the toxicity, I wasn't breaking my family. I was finally, after all these years, saving it. What do you think of my decision? The hardest choices often bring the deepest peace. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched you, please pass it on.